Hello, my dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. A very good morning, and a warm welcome to Study IQ. Dear friends, you can do more than you think, and you are more than you think. Think about it, and I'm sure you will find out that most of the times, the things that you have achieved or done, right, which you consider something extraordinary, or the things that have, in fact, added more capacity in yourself, are the things that earlier on we used to feel that these are the things that we cannot achieve, right? So this, I'm sure you might have experienced this thing, and think about it, that you can do more than you think, and you are more than you think. With this, dear friends, today is the last date of up to 35% discount that is available on pen drive and tablet courses that are offered by StudyIQ. Do check out studyiq.com for more detail. Just in case if you have any question, you have chat support available on our website, as well as you have these numbers. You can give us a call on these numbers. Now we have many articles to discuss today. We have you can say 3 articles. Out of these 3 articles, 2 are directly relating or are related with this COP23, and 1 is indirectly related with this COP23. Apart from that, we have other articles as well. Now let's start with some basic things. As you can see on the screen, this is a logo of COP23. You can see Fiji is written here, and here you can see Bonn. Let me very briefly and quickly tell you, COP stands for Conference of Parties, and 23 means this was the 23rd meeting. Now it is, as you can read here, it is the whole this COP21 and 22 and 23. This COP21 basically means this Paris Agreement. Everything is under this United Nations CCC, right? UNFCCC, United Nations Framework United Nations Climate Change Conference, right? You have this and you have also this framework UNFCCC. Now Bonn 2017, Bonn is a city in Germany, and of course you can imagine Fiji is a very small island, so it is not possible for Fiji, practically not possible for Fiji to host this many delegates and this many stakeholders coming in Fiji so for example for a week or for 10 days. Then this is going to add too much stress on Fiji. So keeping this thing in mind, it was decided Germany offered Bonn for conducting this COP23. So these are some basic things. Now, of course, as I told you that it is under this United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which we know as UNFCCC, and it concluded on this Bonn, or COP23 concluded on 17th November. Now, dear friends, before I move ahead, I would like to tell you that I have provided a curtain raiser, sort of you can say a video lecture, that is available on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked it yet, I would recommend to do it, because it will provide you many things. It will inform you regarding what is Paris Agreement and why this COP23 was important, now we can say. Anyways, so what this article is talking about, see why COP23 was considered very important, because we know that Paris Agreement that took place in 2015, at the end of 2015, December 2015, and this Paris Agreement provided us with all the principles, right? So you can say it provided us with a sort of plan, but how we are going to execute or implement that plan was not decided yet. So this COP23 was considered as a sort of rule book conference, in which all the rules regarding how we are going to implement this Paris Climate Agreement and things like that will be decided, and right after it, it will be, you can say, approved by all the countries, and then we will start working on this thing. Now, sadly, these rules are still not agreed, or you can say we have still not formulated all the rules that we thought we will do in this COP23. Now, the key topics that were discussed here in this COP23 are financial support. This is one of the most important, and you can also say that one of the most contentious issue, because remember what USA said, or to us, USA said, or Mr. Trump said, that country like India, they do sign this Paris Agreement because once they sign it, they would be able to get huge amount of money from country like USA and other developed countries. And we very you can say with all this with all the might that we have, or all the understanding that we have, we defended that claim, right? We clearly we rejected that thing, and because this is not what we are here for, right? We are not for money, and no country would be after for getting money from developed countries, because climate change is a thing that is having a severe impact on countries like India, right? We are, I think, number 2 or number 3 when it comes to impact of this climate change thing. So you can imagine that money is not there. But financial support or money is a big sort of issue. Then you have other mitigation action and differentiation and loss and damage, and this were important topics in COP21, that is Paris Agreement, and it is, or these are the topics that were discussed in this COP23 as well. Now there were many questions raised in this Bonn conference, and they are, of course, like are the developed countries doing enough to support these emerging countries? What about the carbon emission? Are we able to reduce it? Then what about this green gas emission and things like that? So these are the, and of course the one of the main topic here was, or the question you can say, is phasing out of coal-based energy production. Now the thing is, dear friends, that this whole COP23, or you can say this Paris Agreement, right, it will be implemented, or the action, or you can say the Paris Agreement is all about 2020 and 2030. Before that, before or pre-2020, we have this Kyoto Protocol. It has two, you can say, it is divided into two period. One action is between 2005 and 12, and the second part or portion is 2013 and 2013 to 2020. But still we can say that this second part, things are still not implemented. And this was one of the main reasons why these developing countries and poor countries and emerging economies, they were not happy about this developed countries, because in Doha 2012, Doha Amendment, right, it was decided that this should be implemented, this second phase of this Kyoto Protocol, but still developed countries are not doing enough to sort this thing out. So huge pressure was created by this poor and emerging economies, particularly island nation, and this is the main reason why you can see Fiji, this is the first time, right, that we are seeing a small country like Fiji is you can say holding a chair when it comes to this sort of global conference. Because earlier on, what used to happen is that all this powerful countries like USA, UK, France, Germany and other countries, right, they were the one who used to, or you can say their allies used to sit on the high table, or they used to look after this presidency and things like that. But now things have changed, and if we want to change, or if we want to further make sure that these developed countries are following what has been agreed earlier on, then consistent pressure has to be created by this poor and emerging economies. And the sad thing is that if we'll go through other article in which even today Donald Trump is saying, or he is trying to promote coal-based energy production. So this is very sad, right? And the next meeting, COP24, is going to take place in Poland, and that's what we are expecting, that before that meeting, these rules that we want to create, all the details that we want for implementation of Paris Agreement should be ready within this year, right? So before COP24 that is going to take place in Poland, we need to sort out all the rules and regulations. So let's see whether we would be able to do it or not, because when it comes to money, right, we know it very well, it is the developed countries who have used, or they are the ones who have emitted huge amount of carbon dioxide and other carbon, or you can say greenhouse gases. And even today, right, even if we reduce the production, or you can say emission of this greenhouse gases, the gases which are already released, they are going to stay there, and they are of course going to have their negative impact. So this developing countries like India and other emerging countries and poor countries would need money for solar plants, for wind plants, right? They would need money so that they can do the same things that are done in Germany or UK or any other countries. And for that, it is important that everyone is playing their own part, right? They are providing the due share, because under this Green Climate Fund, every year by 2020, it is promised that all these developed countries will altogether contribute $100 billion, right? Every year, $100 billion every year. And this will be distributed in these emerging economies. But still we can see that not that much money has been given by these developed countries. So this topic is one of the most important, I must say, right, for your all your exams, right? It is very important, because climate change and terrorism, these are the two topics on which you find questions every year, and in forthcoming on in future as well, you will find questions on this thing. Now there are many things that we can learn, right? As a country, India has a sort of excellent opportunity for learning from other countries, and of course sharing local knowledge with other countries. And in terms of agriculture, in terms of soil fertility, carbon management of land use, and livestock maintenance, there are many things apart from this vehicular pollution or industrial pollution and other things, right, that we can learn and share with each other. Having said that, dear friends, this is the second article that is directly related with this climate change. And you know that USA has said that in fact USA is going to step out from this Paris Agreement. Of course, the whole divorce process, by time the USA is out of this agreement, it will be 2020. So still we have got 3.5 years, something like that, before USA steps out from this Paris Agreement. So this is the reason why it is in this article you find a line that USA is now acknowledged, or it is known as a sort of official climate villain. And here is another important detail regarding Paris Agreement, and that is that by the end of this century, the whole world will try to ensure that the global average, or you can say average global temperature, does not exceed 2 degrees Celsius. And if possible, we will try, if possible, then we will try to keep it under 1.5. This is important as well. So keep this thing in mind. If possible, then below 1.5 degrees Celsius, but we should not cross 2 degrees Celsius at all. Now, earlier on, if we look back in the history, then we find that there was a case, or there was an incident called this Tambora volcano in Indonesia, and because of this thing there was a sudden drop in temperature, and because of this drop in temperature there took a huge migration, right? People started migrating from one part of the world to other part. Then later on in 1846, due to various reasons, there was a sort of rise in temperature, and because of this thing, again, you can understand if the temperature goes too down or if it goes too up, then it is going to impact your food production, and you require more gas for heating up. Of course, at that point of time, I'm not sure whether gas was being used for heating up your houses, but you can imagine that you would require more wood. If the temperature drops down, then you would cut more jungle and things like that. And when the temperature goes up, you require more water and things like that. So there was a sort of migration in both these cases, 1815 and 1846, right? It kicked migration. And the way things are going on at present, we can see there is a rise of this floods and droughts and hurricanes and other things. And this is also right, slowly we have started observing this thing, that migration is taking place, particularly when you observe countries like small island countries, right? See, one thing is that island countries, right, they are very tiny, and because of this reason, the life that you live there is something similar that you live in our countryside or villages in our country, India. You know that in village, if you go there, then everyone knows everyone, isn't it? And they do stand for, generally speaking, each other in times of adversity and things like that. So now imagine you are forced to leave your place. So this will create a sort of disturbance. It will have a sort of negative impact on your personal life and things like that. But there are people who are leaving their small islands and they are migrating towards bigger countries or the countries that they believe are safe. As I told you that different countries have different sort of impact of this climate change. Like countries like India, we are one of the countries that is you can say severely affected by this climate change. And we can see, we have discussed about this thing, that in the same year, in the same month in India, you can find two different situations, right? At one place you find there is a sort of flood-like situation. At the other end you find that drought is taking place. So this all indicates, these are enough signs to indicate that we are going through a severe sort of climate change. Now this, as I told you, we were talking about this migration thing, and this is all about migration, this particular topic. So migration is has started taking place, and it is going to rise up, and this is going to throw some serious challenge. It is going to disturb the political setup, economic setup, and social setup, because you can associate the things going on in Germany at present. We know that the government is about to fall down. Then after the rise of Trump and you know, the Rohingya issue and other things, how it will disturb the whole it will impact. It is like a sort of a string of a cobweb, right? So that's everything regarding this article. Now this one is about pill talk. It is more about this antibiotics, and at the same time when this Bonn meeting was going on, at the same time this World Antibiotic Awareness Week was also going on. This one, as you can see here, is organized by World Health Organization, WHO, and the main focus is, of course, to ensure that this antibiotic resistant diseases are kept. You can also say that excessive use of antibiotics is also kept. So this was the main focus of this meeting. Now the thing is, in country like India, dear friends, we know that you get medicines over the counter as well, isn't it? So without prescription as well, you can go to any medical store, ask for any medicine, whether it is antibiotic, then as well you would be able to get it. And this is a very dangerous thing, because what happens is that it will push your, you can say, the next time when you fall ill, right, you have to take that sort of dose or that strong medicine, and if you take something below it, then it is not going to work. And many times it happens that if we keep on taking heavier and heavier doses, right, then if you don't get that medicine on time, then even a sort of minor illness could be a killer. So this is the thing. The other thing is that there is a huge pressure on doctors as well. Right, it is of course necessary for all of us. When we talk about awareness, then yes, it is necessary that we take whatever medicine we take, it should be prescribed by a doctor. Shortcuts are not going to be beneficial for us in long run. But the thing is, nowadays we also see that doctors are under huge pressure as well, because of this marketing companies and this pharmaceutical companies. They all want, right, to push their sale. They want to maximize their profits, and because of this thing, many times we find that doctors do recommend this sort of medicines and things like that. Anyways, we have to ensure that we have to stop this misuse of antibiotics in humans, in farm animals, at the same time fighting environmental pollution, because if there is pollution, then there are high chances that you will get ill, and when you get ill, your medicines are going to be this antibiotics and things like that. So you can understand this thing. The other thing is that the big challenge through which we are going through is infection, right? Infection that takes place in hospitals. So we have to also ensure that we curb this thing, or get rid of or eliminate this infections that do take place in hospital. And of course we have to boost surveillance when it comes to excessive use of this antibiotics. Australia is a very good country in this term. It has proven that if you cut down on antibiotics, then you can reverse this trend. And the National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance, right, of India, the main aim is here to implement the best practices that we find in other countries like Australia. So that's everything regarding it. And now, as I told you yesterday, that we are going to find in near future an article or an editorial on this International Court of Justice and re-election of Mr. or Justice Bhandari, right? So yes, there are some basic things that we have discussed yesterday. So it is here, you know, the rules and regulation and everything, right? You know what UNGA is, and United Nations Security Council, you know that you need to, a candidate has to get a majority vote from UNGA as well as UNSC. And we know that there was a sort of deadlock, or you can say a cutthroat competition between a tug of war between UK and India, but finally our candidate has managed to get a seat in this International Court of Justice. Now this is the first time, and you know this thing as well, but the reason why I am adding this thing is because this is, as I told you yesterday, I did provided you a couple of points regarding it, and this is the first time that we are seeing that UK is not going to have any judge on the ICJ. This is the first time that a permanent member of United Nations Security Council has lost at the ICJ on a vote. And this also indicates that UK's you can say prominence, or UK's role in global affairs is going down. At the same time, we can also say that India's role is going up. The other thing is that after this post-Brexit, right, UK has to do many things. It has to do many heavy lifting. That means there are many hurdles in the path of UK after post-Brexit, and for that, India is a country towards which UK would like to have a sort of good relationship, and this could be one of the reasons why it has decided to ground its you can say this Mr. Greenfield. Anyways, the lesson that we can learn, right, as a country from this whole episode of ICJ is that see, when we talk about this nuclear suppliers group, we know that China is a country that is blocking our entry. We tried our level best to ensure that all the other countries are on our side, but China is a UNSC permanent member. It has veto power, as well as the way this NSG is designed. Even one country is opposing entry of new member, then that cannot be that cannot go ahead, right? So this is how NSG is designed. But anyways, the thing is, see, the main lesson that we can learn from this thing is that it is the developing countries, right, not the developed countries. Developed countries have ruled on this earth for a very long period of time. And one more thing that is not highlighted here, but I'm sure if I tell you this thing, then you will understand. See, we know that India has gone through all the pain under this British Raj, isn't it? And we know very well, we have some sort of, you can say, practical experiment regarding the exploitative nature of these countries. I'm not saying that they are doing the same thing at present as well, but if you say African countries and other Asian countries, and if you see the countries that are developed at present and the countries that are developing at present, you will see that most of the developing countries were ruled by some sort of colonial power. I'm saying most of, right? I'm not saying all of them. So please keep this thing in mind as well. So this is the thing that all these developing countries, they know the strategy, or they know the agenda of these developed countries, because most of them have gone through this sort of pain. And this is a thing that is connecting all of us together, right? And this was you can say this non-aligned movement, right, of India. You know that Jawaharlal Nehru played a very pivotal role in this NAM, and this is one of the reasons why we are having a sort of soft power. Apart from that, you can also think about, and next time when you hear anything regarding India helping any African country or any other country that is a bit inferior to us compared to in terms of this economy or technology and things like that, then you will find that the way we provide loan or assistance is not something, we are not trying to colonize any country, right? We genuinely want to help some country, and this is a thing that is winning hearts and minds of the people around the world. And this is called soft power, and this time it is the soft power of our country that has helped us to get this ICJ thing on our side. And this can be used in the future as well for the entry in NSG as well as United Nations Security Council's permanent membership. Dear friends, this article is about the parliament and the way things are conducted in the parliament, and this one is particularly talking about the sessions, different sessions in the parliament. And see, basic thing is given here, right? It is the president who will summon this parliament, and we know that president works on the advice of council of minister headed by prime minister. So even at the end of the day, you can say that it is the prime minister who is, right, determining when a sort of parliament session will take place. Now the thing is, very quickly I will take you to the gist, because we are running out of time here, because we have many other articles to discuss. But see, if we go back, then we find that earlier on, right, we used to have 125 to 140 days a year, right? Discussions used to take place in the parliament, but nowadays we can see it's only 65 to 75 in some states, right? There are some examples given in this article. In some states there has been some cases that only for 10 minutes, 20 minutes there was a session was conducted and things like that. Now there are some rules as well. Say for example, when it comes to this confidence moment, right, where you have to prove whether you are in majority or not. So there is a rule that you cannot ask for this confidence voting in the same sort of session. So if the winter session is going on the first day you had this confidence voting, so now you cannot ask for one more this sort of confidence motion in the winter session. So we also see that many a times this sort of sessions will be declared, and then they will be broken down into two phases, right? So you will have one session now and then after the other one. So in this way as well, the people, many times political parties make sure that they stay in the power if they are going through any sort of turmoil. Now the best solution, is there any sort of solution for this thing? Yes, there is. How about declaring a calendar, right, of every year? Because what happens earlier, we know that transportation and things like that was not possible, and because of this thing it was necessary for this MPs and MLAs to spend most of their time, of course MPs when we talk about central government. So if they are traveling from different parts of country, they will stay in Delhi, and they will spend most of their time after this discussion and things like that. But nowadays we are having good transportation, and they have other commitments as well. So this good transportation can be utilized very well if we declare a calendar of the year in advance, and so that they can plan other things as well regarding their constituency. And there are some good examples that we have. Pakistan is there, UK's parliament is there, where you have year-long sessions, and in Pakistan, right, you have 130 days, at least 130 days every year should be spent after this parliament sessions. And because of these things, you know that you can keep an eye on the things that are going on with the government. This one is about politics, right? Different types of politics that we see, and it is observed as per a research done by John Harris of London School of Economics, and he's saying that if you go to some states, then you find that it is basically the powerful caste groups that are in power, or you can say they are the one who are master of the rooster, right, in that state. But if you go to states like Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, then you have this charismatic leaders, right? We know about this late Jayalalitha, see Amma, right, as she was famously known as Amma. So we know how they run the thing. It's not that only corruption and things do take place, but because of this thing, because of this charisma having a sort of upper hand than other things, it also creates some sort of problem. And the way this charismatic leaders do run the state is about providing more, you can say, freebies, and providing more this benevolent autocratic sort of style of governance. So they will give you, if there is something that you are not having, then they will give you, and this will add more and more charisma, and people will become more and more, you can say, from followers they will become more and more disciple sort of thing. And for a longest period of time there was a sort of assertive populism in Tamil Nadu. If we assertive, it's basically about anti-Hindi and anti-North sort of thing that was taking place here. And now you can see it is more about paternalist populism going on, and this is something related with this charismatic leaders. This one is about inclusive lessons, and it is about Muslim girls, how we can ensure that more women do participate, more Muslim women participate, or they are empowered. See, if we go back to 2011's census, then we find that 48.1% of Muslim women even today, or in 2011, were illiterate, and only 2.07% were graduates, right? So this indicates that the situation is not that good when we talk about Muslim women. Then as per this Sachar committee report, right, it is the lack of resources, then discriminatory attitudes in schools, and the declining faith in public schooling system have left this ajlaf, basically means common Muslim women, excluded from the mainstream. So what can be done at present? It is observed there is a rise of these hybrid schools, private Islamic schools, in which you get both religious teaching as well as modern teachings or curriculum. So you have this hybrid curriculum, and this is a good step, and because of this thing we are seeing that many girls are having confidence and they are reaching at university level too. Now when we talk about empowering, then only education cannot help. We also need to create some space for Muslim women in politics, because if we see the figures, then we find that the Lok Sabha has only 13 Muslim women MPs since independence, right? Only one Muslim woman in Union Council of Ministers in last 25 years. So this indicates that their position is not good, and if we want to empower Muslim women of our country, then we have to provide both education as well as we have to create space for them in politics. And when we talk about politics, you can also take say for example civil services and other government services, right, which are directly related with politics. Then quickly going through the news item, dear friends, the BrahMos missile has been launched and successfully tried by India Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter jet. It was launched from this fighter jet, so now we can launch it from air, land and sea, right? It is a 20-ton missile, and there are other important things like 2.8 Mach given here. You will find a sort of special lecture on this one by today, hopefully. Dear friends, then comes a Bankruptcy Code. There are many decisions that are taken by a cabinet. If you want to know more about it, then of course do check out the PIB of yesterday, right? We have talked about this thing, and this insolvency and bankruptcy code, there are some changes that will be done in this code, because what can happen is that, say for example, you are Mr. X and your company you have declared a sort of bankruptcy. Now when the government is auctioning your business, at the same time you can take part in that auction, and then you can purchase that your own property. So imagine the thing that can take place, right? So this is been eliminated or will be eliminated under this IBC. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Court. Winter session will start on 15th of December. Now you know we have discussed about winter session, so you know how it is conducted. Then migratory birds in Chilika Lake. Chilika Lake is here. You can see this is Bay of Bengal and this is your state of Odisha, and it is Asia's largest brackish water lagoon, right? And this is one of the reasons why you find so many birds migrating from all different parts, Caspian Sea and Baikal Lake and remote parts of Russia, Mongolia and Siberia, because you know that at present it would be very severe cold, or there would be a start of severe cold in this part of the world. So this is one of the main reasons why they do migrate. These birds do migrate here. Gujarat has said that it is not going to allow to release this Padmavati at present, right? It will this could be because of the upcoming election. Of course, no chief minister or ruling party would like to upset any community. We can easily understand this thing. Then a NGO, right, has alleged that Asthana, right, R.K. Asthana, who is CBS Special Director, his son is associated with some sort of graft. And here a general that you can see on your screen, right, Bosnia and this Croatia area, Slovenia and Croatia area, right, he's been sentenced for life because of the genocide that took place under his regime. And this is Lebanon's Prime Minister. He has in fact withdrawn his resignation. He said that it is the president who insisted not to resign and things like that. So again, things are a bit normal now in Lebanon, but again we have to wait and watch. And finally, cabinet approves new finance panel. So 15th Finance Commission, as per the constitution, the government has to declare this finance commission, and the 15th one, it is the period of this 15th one is going to be from 2020 to 2025. The 14th Finance Commission will last till 2020, but it is a standard operating procedure that we do declare it before the end of this 14th Finance Commission. And these are the answers here, dear friends. Import duties, writ, and British Army was posted in the subsidiary state. Of course, when you download this file, you can match it, and I have seen that many students were asking for answers. I do reply in the comment section, but let's see, we will try this thing. If this is beneficial for you, then I will stick the answers in this PDF lecture slide. Then you have questions. I will quickly take you through it. In the kingdom of Satavahanas of ancient India, a district was called, first one is Ahara, second one is Kataka, third one is Rasta, and the fourth one is Vihara. I will spell it out for you. Right, the first option is Ahara, the second one is Kataka, and the third one is Rashta, and the fourth one is Vihara. The second question: which of the following regions are characterized by little undergrowth, trees of several layers? The first option is tropical rainforest, the second one is tropical savanna, third is tropical desert, and the fourth one is taiga. Third question: what is the maximum age limit prescribed for the post of the President of India? 58 years, 60 years, 62 years, or there is no maximum age limit. That's everything, dear friends. Make sure you make the most out of up to 35% discount that is available on all our pen drive and tablet courses. Today is the last date. Don't forget to subscribe, share, give us a like if you have learned something out of it, and do pass me your valuable comments as well as your answer. This is Prashant Mamani signing off. Enjoy your studies. I will see you all soon. Jai Hind.